We had stopped yesterday at Bhavada Vasudha Vrishtif Paparanya Davanala Daurbhagya Tulavatula Jaradhvanta Raviprabha. Let's continue from 144. भाग्याब्धिचन्द्रिका भक्तचित्तकेकिघना घना रोगपर्वतदम्भोलिर्मृत्युदारुकुठारिका. Just a minute. So if Pavitra ma'am can unmute yourself, please repeat after me. I will repeat a certain word, so you can also repeat one time. Okay? Pavitra ma'am, are you there? Okay. Please repeat after me. भाग्याब्धिचन्द्रिका भक्त
भाग्याब्धिचन्द्रिका भक्त
भाग्याब्धिचन्द्रिका भक्त
भाग्याब्धिचन्द्रिका भक्त
चित्तकेकि घना घना
चित्तकेकि घना घना
चित्तकेकि घना घना
चित्तकेकि घना घना
रोगपर्वत दम्भोलिर्
रोगपर्वतदम्बोलिर्
रोगपर्वत दम्भोलिर्
दम्बोलिर्
मृत्युदारुकुठारिका
मृत्युदारुकुटारिका
मृत्युदारुकुठारिका
मृत्युदारुकुटारिका
महेश्वरी महाकाली
महेश्वरी महाकाली
महेश्वरी महाकाली महाग्रासा महाशना
महाग्रासा महासना
महाग्रासा महाशना
महाग्रासा महासना
अपर्णा चण्डिका चण्ड
अपर्णा चण्डिका चण्ड
अपर्णा चण्डिका चण्ड
अपर्णा चण्डिका चण्ड
मुण्डासुरनिषूदिनी
सुरनिषूदिनी
मुण्डासुरनिषूदिनी
सुरनिषूदिनी
क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्व
क्षराक्षरका सर्व
क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्व
क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्व
लोकेशी विश्वधारिणी
लोकेशी विश्वधारिणी
लोकेशी विश्वधारिणी
लोकेशी विश्वधारिणी
त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा
त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा
त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा
त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा
त्र्यम्बका त्रिगुणात्मिका
त्र्यम्बका त्रिगुणात्मिका
त्र्यम्बका त्रिगुणात्मिका
त्र्यम्बका त्रिगुणात्मिका
स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा
स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा
स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा
स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा
जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः
जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः
जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः
जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः
ओजोवती द्युतिधरा
दीप्तिधरा
ओजोवती द्युतिधरा
दीप्तिधरा
यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता
यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता
यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता दुराराध्या दुराधर्षा
दुराध्या दुरादर्शा
दुराराध्या दुराधर्षा
दुराशा
पाटली कुसुमप्रिया
पाटली कुसुमप्रिया
पाटली कुसुमप्रिया
पाटली कुसुमप्रिया
महती मेरुनिलया
महती निल
महती मेरुनिलया
महती निलय
मंदार कुसुमप्रिया
प्रिया
मंदार कुसुमप्रिया
प्रिया
वीराराध्या विराड रूपा
वीपा
वीराराध्या विराड रूपा
वीपा
विरजा विश्वतो मुखी
विरजा विश्वतो मुखी
विरजा विश्वतो मुखी
विरजा विश्वतो मुखी
प्रत्यग्रूपा पराकाशा
प्रत्यग्रूपा पराकाशा
प्रत्यग्रूपा पराकाशा
प्रत्यग्रूपा पराकाशा
प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी
प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी
प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी
प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी
मार्ताण्डभैरवाराध्या
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 मन्त्रिणी न्यस्तराज्यधूः
मन्त्रिणे निस्तराज्यदूः
मन्त्रिणी न्यस्तराज्यधूः
मन्त्रिणे निस्तराज्यदूः
त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना
त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना
त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना
त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना
निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा
निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा
निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा
निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा
सत्यज्ञानानन्दरूपा
सत्यज्ञानानन्तरूपा
सत्यज्ञानानन्दरूपा
सत्यज्ञानानन्तरूपा
सामरस्य परायणा
सामरस्य परायणा
सामरस्य परायणा
सामरस्य परायणा
कपर्दिनी कलामाला
कपर्दिनी कलामाला
कपर्दिनी कलामाला
कपर्दिनी कलामाला
कामधुक् कामरूपिणी
कामधुक्कामरूपिणी
कामधुक् कामरूपिणी
कामधुक्कामरूपिणी
गुड कलानिधिः काव्यकला
कला विद्याकला
कलानिधिः काव्यकला
कला काव्यकला
रसज्ञा रसशेवधिः
रसज्ञा रससेवतिः
रसज्ञा रसशेवधिः
रसज्ञा रससेवतिः
पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या
पुष्टा पुरादना पूज्या
पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या
पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या
पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा
पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा
पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा
पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा
परं ज्योतिः परं धाम
परं ज्योतिः परं धाम
परं ज्योतिः परं धाम
परं ज्योतिः परं धाम
परमाणुः परात् परा
परमा परा परा
परमाणुः परात् परा
परा परा
पाशहस्ता पाशहन्त्री
पासहस्ता पासहन्त्री
पाशहस्ता पाशहन्त्री
पासहस्ता पासहन्त्री
परमन्त्रविभेदिनी परमन्त्रविभेदिनी
परमन्त्रिदिनि
मूर्ता मूर्ता नित्यतृप्ता
सा नित्यतृप्ता
मूर्ता मूर्ता नित्यतृप्ता
सा सा नित्यतृप्ता
मुनिमानसहंसिका
सहंसिका
मुनिमानसहंसिका
सहंसिका
सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा
सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा
सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा
सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा
सर्वान्तर्यामिनी सती
सर्वान्तर्यामिनी सती
In some books, here Yamini is given as is shown here. In other books, it is Yamini. Both are correct. I'll go with Yamini. Sarvantar Yamini Sati.
सर्वान्तर्यामिनी
Sarvantar Yamini Sati.
सर्वान्तर्यामिनी सती
Brahmani Brahmajanani.
जननी
Brahmani Brahmajanani.
ब्रह्मा ब्रह्मजननी
बहुरूपा बुधार्चिता
बहुबाहुधार्चिता
बहुरूपा बुधार्चिता
बहुबाहुधार्चिता
प्रसवित्री प्रचण्डाज्ञा
दशवित्री प्रसन्दाज्ञा
प्रसवित्री प्रचण्डाज्ञा
दशवित्री प्रचण्डाज्ञा
प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः
प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः
प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः
प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः
प्राणेश्वरी प्राणदात्री प्राणेश्वरी प्राणदात्री
प्राणदात्री
पञ्चाशत् पीठरूपिणी
पञ्चाशत्पीठरूपिणी
पञ्चाशत् पीठरूपिणी
पञ्चाशत्पीठरूपिणी
पञ्चाशत् पीठरूपिणी
पञ्चाशत्पीठरूपिणी
विशृङ्खला विविक्तस्था
विशृङ्खला विक्तस्ता
विशृङ्खला विविक्तस्था
विशृङ्खला विविक्तस्ता
वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः
वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः
मुकुन्दा मुक्तिनिलया
मुकुन्दा मुक्तिनिलया
मुकुन्दा मुक्तिनिलया
मुकुन्दा मुक्तिनिलया
मूलविग्रहरूपिणी
ग्रहरूपिणी
मूलविग्रहरूपिणी भावज्ञा भवरोगघ्नि
भावज्ञा
भावज्ञा भवरोगघ्नि
भाव
No, the first jna is alpa prana. It is ja and nya together. Whereas the second gha and it is gh and ne. So it is ghna. भावज्ञा भवरोगघ्नि
भावज्ञा
भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनि
भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी
भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनि
भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी
There you must emphasize the chakra pra because, like I said, pra is a samyukta akshara and the preceding swara is short. It is hraswa. Therefore, the previous swara will take on the pa. Bhava chakra pravartini.
भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी
You should stress the kra. Bhava chakra pravartini.
भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी
Correct. Bhava chakra pravartini.
भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी
Fantastic. Okay, let us stop here. 140, 157. Please remind me tomorrow. 157. We have so far seen how Lalita is representative of the drik of in us, that is the seer within us. And we have also briefly discussed the philosophy of idealism, which is signified by this half a shloka where it says, she always keeps her eyes open and therefore she is called Meenakshi. But when she does close her eyelids and open them, is when entire series of universes, entire Avali means a sequence of universes gets created and destroyed. So and then she has 1,000 heads, means 1,000 minds, 1,000 motor organs, and 1,000 sense organs. She is the mother of all creatures, starting from the very unicellular life up until the force or that so-called intellect or the intelligence which created the universe itself, which is called Brahma. And then we have also seen how she seeded the idea of community forming, which later became more sophisticated as the Varna. And then she seeded the idea of dividing the stages of life and bringing in maturity of the soul according to its different age and circumstances. So that was ashrama. And then she walks the talk. She doesn't, just blurt out advice, unsolicited advice. And when she does give an advice or a command, she will herself follow it too. She is bound by her own vows. And punya phalaprada, because she is Ishwari, and the other uh, role, an unpaid role for of Ishwara is to mm, his duty is to give out the consequences, the phala, the fruits of the action, be it of punya or of papa. And this rule is inviolable. It cannot be violated even for the saints, even the avatars, even the munis, rishis, yoginis, every single person, whatever their maturity of spiritual enlightenment, must necessarily experience the karmas of punya and apunya, of punya and papa. And that is the only way to extinguish it, which is called as prarabdha too. And so she meets out these karma phala to the people. Therein we can ask a question. So then, what even is the point of us worshipping God? Because if anyway, what is destined to happen and what we have done in the past is going to come and bite us back in the, in polite terms, the backside of us. So, what even is the point then of worshipping and seeking help from God? In this case, Lalita. So, there the Shastras have a unique way of tackling this question, and they say, though the karma phala cannot be completely negated or nullified or skipped, it can be lessened to a, it can be diminished to a lesser extent. That is how they reason this out, and that is where the intensity of the karma phala, the consequences of the action, can be diminished or refurnished through Ishvara's blessings, because he being all powerful, she being all powerful, uh, cannot create a law which itself is also all powerful. Like, there has to be some room for exceptions wherein God, the Almighty itself, can intervene. And that is one case where he allows himself or she allows herself to try and manipulate the intensity of the karma phala. And in fact, some bhaktas voluntarily, I mean, there is also this question of why do good people suffer, right? And we have seen time and again all these sajjanas and good people, dasas, sharanas, and all of these people. We keep hearing stories of how they were punished, they were crucified, or whatever. They were whipped some 10,000 times by the king, or they were put in a jail, and so on and so forth. So why do such great bhaktas also have to face the punya, I mean the phala, karma phala? So there, another bhakti way of reasoning it out is that they have risen to such a state of bhakti that there is absolutely no self-interest. They will not even ask their beloved to help them in their own personal lives. So that is the level of love and affection and bhakti that they have risen to, where they have completely obliterated the interest of the self, and they'll in fact feel ashamed themselves to even ask God for mukti, or giving them uh, sadgati or swarga or whatever, let alone asking about alleviating their pain and misery. It is never, it doesn't even come to their minds, is how the bhakti scriptures reason this thing out. And therefore, they in fact voluntarily ask God to give them some more pain and suffering, so that in suffering at least they'll try to keep remembering him or her. And and so they only ask for only one thing, which is bhakti. They'll only ask that if at all my beloved must give me something, it must be achanchalam bhaktim. It is unwavering, unswerving love and devotion to you. So this is how the bhaktas reason, and therefore they don't really. I mean, they have gone so above this punya and apunya that really for them even a torture of the body will not really matter. So their mind and complete all their senses are completely dissolved in the higher super uh, phenomenon called Lalita. But still, even if they wish that their karma phalas, if at all, be lessened, it can only be lessened, but it can never be completely done away with. So there must be some structure to the universe, some structure to morality, and that she has set. Shruti Simanta Sindhu. It's not that she is not powerful enough to, completely erase it out, but she wills that it never be, erased out, because once she makes an exception to one soul, it is like setting a precedent. And we have seen how laws in our country, the judicial system is so uh, flexible that time and again these laws keep changing. Today, let's say for example, they'll say coffee is illegal. So from tomorrow onwards, anybody who drinks coffee will be put in jail. And then after 2 more years, because of some precedent, uh, A versus B case, they'll argue that no, coffee is actually good for health and therefore it should be legalized. Then they will legalize it. And people who were put in jail for drinking coffee all these 2 years, I mean, don't even ask of their fate. So such peculiar loopholes do exist because of making some weird exceptions in the judicial system. And to avoid this, perhaps Lalita and the scriptures knew that there must be some rigidity to the laws, and that she has ensured. Shruti Simanta Sinduri Krita Padabja Dhulika. Shruti Simanta means the end, the boundary, the very pinnacle of the Shruti. Shruti here refers to the Vedas. The Veda, the end of the Vedas, which is called Veda Anta, which is the Upanishads. Sinduri Krita Pada Abja Dhulika. So it says very beautifully uh, that your legs, O mother, are Sinduri Krita. They have been um, that alta, that henna has been applied on your foot, and it is glowing red, and now your feet looks like this red lily or a red lotus, very pinkish red lotus, pada abja, and then the pollen from the lotus, which is called dhuli, the pollen from the lotus will become individual Upanishads themselves. So that is the comparison being made here, that the pollen from the lotus-like feet, which is ordained by haldi, sorry, not haldi, henna, is equivalent to one Upanishad each. So it just goes on to say how magnificent and um, what level of wisdom she must herself be an embodiment of, that even just the dust from her feet are capable of becoming entire Upanishads in themselves. Shruti Simanta Sinduri Krita Padabja Dhulika. And so in Saundarya Lahari, this very famous phrase, Shrutinam Murdhano Dadhati Tavayau Shekharataya Mamapyeto Mata Shirasi Dayaya Dhehi Charano. So the poet is asking, Adi Shankaracharya is asking, O mother, your feet are resting on these dusts called the Shrutina Murdhana, these pinnacles of Upanishads, I mean pinnacles of Vedas, which are the Upanishads, that the highest philosophy is just below your feet. Shrutina Murdhana Dadhati Tavayau Shekharataya. And so with such a feet, with such a dust-laden feet, please place your uh, feet, your divine holy feet above my head. Mamapyeto mataha shirasi dayaya dhehi charanau. So keep your charanas on my head so that those dust particles will sit on my head. And even if I am not anymore in contact with you, at least with the jnana of these Upanishads, I will make my life kritartha. It will make my life fulfilled. And then Sakalagama Sandoha Shukti Samputa Mauktika. Uh, now it has talked about the Vedas. The first shloka has talked about the Vedas, Shruti. The second part of the shloka is talking about the Agamas, Nigama, Agama, Veda, and then the Puranas. Agama also refers to the Puranas. Sakala Agama Sandoha, the summary of all the Puranas, of all the Agama, Sandoha, Shukti, Samputa Mauktika. If all of that were to be considered a Shukti, a pearl, then you are the mother of pearl. So you are that oyster which is spitting out these very nice crystallized quartz pearls out. So again, it just says that how powerful she herself is in her own glory and wisdom. Purushartha Prada. She bestows upon us the Purusharthas. I think Usha ma'am was referring to this idea before some other day. Purushartha are the four objectives of life. One is dharma, that is morality, social conduct, and um, something which is sustainable for civilization, that is dharma. And then artha is the finance and the economy engines. And then kama are the pleasure, the pleasuring and servicing and entertaining industries. Kama, and then the Moksha, which are the philosophy and which comprises the philosophy and higher order thinking of life. So these are the four different major machines operating in society and guiding every human being in certain directions. The artha means the purpose of Purusha, the entire journey of the Purusha, of a person, of a human, is wading through these four engines. In some stages, he will tilt and walk more towards the path of the economy and the financial monetary engines, artha, and then sometimes towards pleasure, entertainment, and bhoga of enjoyment and indulgement, and then sometimes back he'll be guided by uh, philanthropy, helping others, trying to bring their family up from poverty, or contributing back to society in whatever means. That would be dharma. And then sometimes when he is sick of all of these three, he or she will retire back with a cup of coffee or tea in a very at dusk, in a very cool place, cool serene place, laid back, and then think about and ponder over the deeper aspects of life, which can be in some ways moksha. So these are the four primary objectives and efforts done by human beings uh, at different levels. She she gives humans uh, any and all of these four. And then Purna, she is complete. Bhogini, and in her aspect of being the Kundalini is the energy which is there within us, the divine feminine, as it is called. It is represented in the form of a serpent, and this serpent, with its hooded head, lies dormant at the base of her spine, and from there it rises up, piercing through these different lotuses until it reaches the Sahasrara. That is the idea, to put it very simply, very simplistically. But Bhogini here refers to that serpent. Bhogini means a serpent, or Sarpini, also it's called. So she is that Kundalini, metaphorical serpent within us. And Bhuvaneshwari is one of the Dasha Mahavidyas, and here it literally refers to the goddess, the queen of the entire Bhuvana, of the entire universe. Ambika Anadi Nidhana. She is Ambika, means a mother. Ambika means a mother, and it also means a person with a special eye. Amba also means a special eye. That is why we say Triambaka, means one who having three special eyes. Ambika means a special eye. Anadi Nidhana. And we also say mothers always keep an eye on the child, is it not? So wherever they go, just as we are today keeping an eye on our phones, which are necessarily our childs today, our children, uh, the women, the mothers, they always keep an eye out for the kids. So she is Ambika, and Anadi Nidhana. She is without Nidhana and Adi. She is without a death or a beginning. There is no end nor a beginning to her. She is ever present. Anadi Nidhana. Hari Brahma Indra Sevita. She is served and venerated by Hari, Brahma, Indra, and others. Moving on, Narayani, we have spoken about this yesterday, that she is equivalent to the power of Narayana, of Vishnu, and they are somehow brothers and sisters, metaphorically. Nadarupa, she represents that original impulse, the primordial impulse from which all creation first began. So she is that first disturbance in that singularity, that first impulse, that first perturbation, that is called the nada. And from that cosmic, I don't want to use scientific terms to signify spirituality and vice versa, but to just understand, for us to understand, it could be said as the natural frequency of the universe. So the primordial nada, the pranava, she is that nama rupa vivarjita. She is she has completely cleansed herself of all namas and rupa, of all names and forms. Now here what nama and rupa refer to? The information of an object. So from an object, we first derive what the senses are telling us, how it tastes, how it looks, how it feels, how it sounds, and then what else, and how it feels, and so on. So that is the rupa, that is the information gathered about an object through the senses. And then what other information we gather about an object, that is by pratyaksha, by actual observation we understand. And then nama here is just a symbol, it just means a name. Of course, the name of an object, either you can give it yourself through some algebraic name xyz, or the society will tell you what the name of this particular object is. For example, this laptop I'm sitting before, it's called a laptop because somebody said to me in my kindergarten that this is called a computer or this is called a laptop, and then I agreed to abide by that convention for the sake of use of society and conversing with people. But that is not the name which is being talked about here. The nama here refers to the thought or the idea of the object which runs in our mind. After the collection of information from the object has been successful in the brain, now the brain will churn out this information to make an image, and it will associate this with some emotion which was felt, or whether with some use, or with some incident, with some memory, or with some future prospects. So it does one of these four, and thus an image is created in the mind. And until I get Alzheimer's and turn what, some 50 or 60, this image will still remain fresh in the brain, somewhere in the brain. So every time a person says the name laptop, I will immediately, not I, but the brain will immediately conjure up this image and all the related background information about it. So that is the nama, and actually seeing it is called the rupa. And this is true of every single object that we experience in the world, not just objects, all people, events, things, you know, family, friends, strangers, enemies, all of them are all rupas, and then we associate them with some images in our mind. So the mind and the sense organs together are conjuring up this prapancha in us. That is why it is not just pancha, it is not just the five sense organ information. It is also pra-pancha. That pra refers to the mind because it is putting some more information into it and bringing a meaning to the story. Otherwise, it would just be the sense organs, randomly throwing information in, collecting information in. So it would just be noise. Out of this noise, the brain or the mind works and puts together, cooks up a story and an image. So that is nama and rupa, which is a very powerful concept. If you actually look at this very, very deeply, our shastras and philosophy especially has gone into such great depths to analyze the subjective reality around us. Yes, we agree that it may not have advanced as materially as today's modern science. I mean, of course, all this AI, technology, computers, etc., definitely were not there. However, they still led peaceful lives, or at least we believe so. So it's not that they were not able to live with any of these. So there has been definitely an increase in the comforts, and to that degree, we must definitely accede credit to modern science and technology. However, the strong suit of India of Bharata has always been the immensity of philosophy that it has, uh, you know, nurtured and raised, and that has always been a strong point, the greatest unique selling point to the world. Just imagine with just two words, Nama and Rupa, how much philosophy we can actually get into and keep discussing. And she is Vivarjita. So she has dissociated herself from either of Nama and Rupa. So she looks at the world for exactly what it is, and in fact, more really than what we are actually seeing, and without any mental constructs. Nama Rupa Vivarjita. And such a vision, such a spectacular vision is possible only, it is at least said that this vision comes from Lalita herself as a blessing, even with those into those people who we at least think externally as having been enlightened. They are at least said to have such impeccable vision of the world. Nama Rupa Vivarjita. And then Hrinkari. She is of the form of Hrim. Hrim is the Bijakshara associated most popularly with Lalita, with Durga, Hrim, or Chandika, so to speak. Whereas Aim is associated more with Sharada or Saraswati, and Kleem is more associated with Kali and also Krishna. See, again, there is a equivalence between Kali and Krishna there too. Kali also has Kleem, Krishna also has Kleem, and Hrim is Durga or Shakti or Lalita, whereas Aim is that, and Shreem is Lakshmi. It is Kamalatmika. So these are some basic Bija mantras, Bija Aksharas associated with the Devis. Hrim Kari, she is Hrim. Incidentally, Hrim is also the only Bijakshara which occurs in the Panchadasha mantra, the Sri Vidya mantra. The others are just syllables. They are just sa, ka, ha, whatever. And towards the end of each line, it stops with Hrim as a marker. And that she is Hrinkari and Hrimati. She is very bashful. Like any, you know, I won't say well behaved, I will say conditioned, well conditioned woman just before marriage. She acts all bashful, all nervous and blushing and all that. So she represents that aspect also of the feminine, which is quite bashful, very, uh, you know, uh, fun loving, very docile. So she is called Hrimati. Hridya, she is mm, most beloved. Hridya means something which is most close to the heart. Closest to the heart is called Hridya, and she that is Heya Upadeya Varjita. Once again, she is detached, or she no longer has either Heya or Upadeya. Heya means something which should be which is averse, or which is worthy of condemnation. That is called Heya. And Upadeya is something which must be accepted, or something which is acceptable, something which is attractive, something which must be done. So Heya, Upadeya, these are opposites of each other. And there she has risen above and therefore given up both the ideas of aversion and attraction, of repulsion and attraction. She is just looking at things for what they are, and this desire is what creates raga and dvesha. The desire to fulfill ourselves or use the person creates raga, and the desire to run away from our fears, to run away or not confront ourselves, creates dvesha. So this, because she is bereft of kama, that itself will also take care of being completely disjointed from the ideas of aversion and attraction. Raja Rajarchita Rajni, Rajni is the queen. She has been worshipped, Archita, by the Raja Rajas, the king of kings, like Indra and the other devatas, and then of course the actual emperors also. We have very famously in recent history seen Shivaji Maharaj, who also was a great bhakta of Bhavani. So she is always worshipped by kings. In fact, even in the Mahabharata, Krishna himself, in fact, takes uh, Yudhishthira and asks him to pray to Kali, before the war begins through Durga and Kali for asking them for a seamless victory in the battle. And once again, even while, if you remember, Kamsa used to kill the babies, the seven babies, and the seventh one was Krishna. I think eighth one, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was the eighth one. So when Vasudeva takes away that baby, goes to, you know, and exchanges that with Yashoda's daughter. So Vasudeva brings back Yashoda's daughter into the prison cell. And in the morning, when Kamsa comes to know that there has been another birth, he goes to kill that baby. And once again, when he thrashes that baby onto the floor, the baby vanishes and it takes on the form of Durga herself. And she gives him a very stern warning that, your Papa, your ill treatment of your citizens, of your own subjects, and of your relatives, and of course, of not to forget the killing of six innocent babies has been done, which is a very great crime in itself. And so I mean, sorry, your punyas are about to exhaust, and your papas are about to reach the brim of the your vessel. And so please be warned that if not for Vishnu, my brother's desire to kill you yourself, to kill you himself, I would have in a moment put an end to your tyranny. This is what she says. And then she disappears. So that is also another incident to just recollect how Krishna and Durga were also, divine sister and brothers. And I just wanted to tell this incident. Coming back to this, Raja Rajarchita she is venerated by and worshipped by the greatest of Kshatriyas. In fact, it is said that the more powerful a king becomes, the more inclined he will be to worship the fiercer and fiercer forms of Durga. Raja Rajarchita Rajni. Ramya Rajiva Lochana. She is beautiful, Ramya. Rajiva Lochana. She has eyes, the eyelids, which represent a fully bloomed lotus. Ranjani, two meanings here. Ranjani is one who entertains, and the other meaning is one who is red in color. This, of course, because she is Sindhura Aruna, she is Ranjani. And Ramani is one who revels, one who uh, enjoys, one who is completely drenched in all sorts of ecstasy. Ramani, Rasya also means one who is a receiver of entertainment, one who loves and appreciates art, entertainment, all the finer pleasures of life. Rasya. Ranat Kinkini Mekhala. Her Mekhala is the waistband that is called Mekhala, and it has kinkinis, these small little jingling bells, and they are all ranat, they are all moving because of the uh, because even though she is not moving herself, she is not locomoting, her very breathing itself, which is so sonorous and resonant, is causing the bells around her waist to jingle. Ranat Kinkini Mekhala. It's so beautiful to imagine. Ranat Kinkini Mekhala. And in fact, even till date, I would say till recently, the women of the household would always wear the anklets, bangles, all these necklaces and the waistband and so on. To even hear such a sound is so auspicious, which is why only during times of death and bereavement in the family were they advised to not wear these ornaments. Otherwise, um, to just hear such jingling sounds in the house was both a good thing for the woman because it would make her more attractive and also for the other members of the house. Ranat Kinkini Mekhala. Okay, let's stop here. Take up any questions, any comments and suggestions. If you want to remark on a particular shloka, please do so.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Namaste. I could not chant any shloka immediately, but I was following. Uh,
Okay, okay,
so
okay.
one more thing, the shlokas are basically a retelling of all the Mahabharata, Ramayana, the stories, or are they just being done so to highlight some particular characteristics of the game? Because you have these stories and everything from the other Puranas and the other epics also, right? So is it like you are just using that to highlight the characteristics of the Devi, or is the original story being told here itself?
I would say the former, that this is mainly the point of a stotram is to eulogize and to highlight characteristics of Devi only. And yeah, and why they, I mean, you can just simply say she is everything and be done with it. I mean, there's really no need to elaborate anything else further. But because the human mind cannot do so and be at peace, it needs something again and again to ponder over stuff and to engage in the dhyana. So such repetitive uses and phrases which reference the other scriptures, like you have rightly said about Mahabharata or Puranas and so on, are used. So there is a very nice phrase in the Shivananda Lahari where he says, Kulyap Kulyopa Kulyakramaihi. So he says, let my mind be brought at your feet, O Shiva, by repetitive washing, by using kavita, by using poetry and such stotrams again and again, so that at least through these waves of poetry, my mind, which is also in itself a very disturbed lake, come to a standstill. So that is entirely the objective of making such stotrams very elaborate, very descriptive, and referencing so many other things. To answer you shortly, yes, it is a description of the mother only, of the mother goddess. It is not describing any story as such in great detail. Even the Bhandasura story itself is not really described in great detail. It's just referenced here for people who are, I mean, these were recited and given to people who were already very familiar with the others Puranas and stuff. So just reciting them will immediately take their minds to those references and citations, and bring their mind, engross their mind more in such dwellings. But since none of, I mean, most of us are not really aware of those, I am just elaborating those incidents and stories as and when I come across these words.
The last statement, because there are different versions of Mahabharata and Ramayana, there are very different stories, right? So you don't know which one is being included in the sloka because there are different versions. So maybe one incident it might be sharing the Lita Sahasranama, but then the other incident might not be there. So can you conclude from that that other version of the story came after Lalita Sahasranama?
Yeah, correct. I mean, yeah, that is true that any story referenced here, and then if the story has changed later on, correct, then we can easily track where the apabhramsha, or where the corruption of the story happened, correct. But yeah, this story in its, I mean, this Lalita Sahasranama is a part of a Purana called the Brahmanda Purana, and at least it is believed historically that the itihasas, that is Mahabharata and Ramayana, are at least supposedly considered more authoritative than the Puranas. Because what has happened is, over the course of time, the Puranas, which were supposed to be held sacred and in equal dignity and reference, somehow, when it got dispersed into the masses, people started adding things, deleting things, you know, supplementing it with their own philosophies and ideas and their own versions of the story. And such corruptions are not uncommon in the Puranas. But yes, the authority of the credibility, at least, sorry, the credibility of the Lalita Sahasranama is unquestioned, because, like I said, many people have written about Lalita Sahasranama, and they have all been corroborated to be the same thing. I thank you, sir. Nice question, though. Yeah, but I don't think I gave a satisfactory answer. But if anybody else in the group can, in the satsanga, can pitch in, please do feel free to do so. Okay. Apart from this, any other question?
Right away. Okay. This Alzheimer's doesn't happen at 50 and 60. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. But in fact, a recent study actually reveals that at least my generation is, I mean, the expected lifespan is going to decrease a lot because we already see many people aging and getting white hairs at even 30. So I don't even think Alzheimer's will wait for our generation till 60.
Attacks also, especially those who go to the gym and all that. I don't
Mm,
but
correct.
I thought on a lighter vein, I'd better correct.
Sure, sure, Yari. Yeah.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
One question I have. Sir, ಇದು ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಮಂತ್ರ ಪಠಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಪೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಒನ್. ಇದನ್ನ ಪಠನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್ ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಕೇಳೋಣ ಅಂತ.
ಖಂಡಿತ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಸೊ ಎನಿ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪೂರ್ವ ಪೀಠಿಕ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿಫೇಸ್ ಟು ದ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರಂ ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ದ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರಂ and then followed by a phalashruti where it describes itself the different fruits and benefits of reciting this. One, of reciting. Secondly, if you do it more deeper, what you will get. If you do it deeper still and do manana, what you will get. And if you just listen to it, what you will get. Antela ide. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but we can definitely talk about this once the stotram is completed. I actually plan to take up the phalashruti also, though not for recitation. So I want to discuss what the different benefits are so that it keeps us motivated. For now, I can share the document with you on the group, ma'am. You can just go through it. Mm.
Okay. See, usually it is said in the mornings you should listen to Vishnu Sahasranama. In the evening you should listen to Lalita Sahasranama.
Mm.
What is the reason, specific reason, sir? We can also listen in the morning Lalita Sahasranama, right? Like, I mean, maybe for the more benefits, but what is that? Maybe I mean, need not to be covered in this session, but we can, when if you can do it in some of the session, it would be useful, sir.
Surely, ma'am. But yes, I am myself also, I have heard it, but though when I've asked people what the reference is, I mean, I don't think they were able to produce any such reference to the scripture. But the stotram in itself, like the Purva nor the Uttara or the Parashruti, they don't mention of the time exactly. But anyway, the Sandhya Kala is preferable for doing any sadhana as such, be it morning or evening. But yes, the pratiti of doing so of Vishnu in the morning and Lalita in the evening is, I have seen this too, correct? It is prevalent. Uh, but what is the exact reason? I am not sure. If there anybody else knows, please answer it. I can only make a retrospective justification and say that, yeah, in the evening, you know, she, Lalita, represents Rajas, and with the setting sun as the background, she is totally, I mean, this is in complete sync with what her description also is of Sindhura Aruna. But again, people can also argue it happens also in the same in this, at sunrise also. But yes, the Sandhya, the Sayankala is said to be more prevalent and more powerful for Devi sadhana. In fact, not just the evening, but in fact, as it gets darker and darker, the more ferocious forms of Durga kick in, and so their sadhanas actually also happen sometimes in the late night. Sometimes even, I mean, the tantrikas, they do sadhana at 12 o'clock also in the midnight. So yes, so it depends on a particular deity, but yeah, let me also try to figure out why Lalita, if Lalita is associated with the evening. Yep, yes, sir. Please tell us.
Cause the drama was the dancer, the battle. So it kind of gives you motivation to start your day, go on and fight, give your best for the day. And when you finish your day in the evening, you kind of look and be grateful to the God, and you kind of want to have a positive outcome, right? So starting with Sushasnama with you hope and to continue. And in the evening, you want to be grateful, you want to have a positive outlook so that you can stay peace. So that is a possible in the third one that you start with Sushasnama there in the day with the Sushasnama.
Yeah, very plausible, correct.
Because it was actually Sushasnama was like said as a battle, right? So it's like the day we are put into the battle where we also hope to be our best and try to be very productive.
Oh, that's so beautiful, correct. And now that you say so, yes, it does occur in the Bhishma Parva, right in the battlefield. Yeah, you're right. And the correct to just give to add more context to this, the Vishnu Sahasrama was recited when Sri Krishna directs Yudhishthira to go to Bhishma, who is lying on a bed of arrows after the war is over, to ask from him what uh, you know, Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kim Va Pekam Parayanam, and so on and so forth, where he's asking, go ask him about the manners, how to, you know, do your duties and administer and govern the Rajya well. And that is when Yudhishthira also has his own set of questions of whom must I worship to make my day and to protect dharma and make it more fruitful. I mean, it does make sense that Vishnu Sahasranama is chanted at in the morning before the start of the day. Correct.
I think that is, it makes sense. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to both the questioner as well as the answer. Astu, so if no more questions, let's leave. Let's wrap it up. Dhanyavadaha.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Dhanyawadaha. Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha. Namaste.
Dhanyawadaha. Thank you.
Thank you. Dhanyavadaha. Namaste.